was to stop slaves. That's all you are, a fucking slave catcher. But we're not slaves. We're masters. Nothing can stop us when we're together like this. They want us separate. Nothing can stop us. When I see these different faces and we're out here together for a cause, for a reason. Because we need to do it. Because we can't let it happen again. We can't let it happen again. No more. Let's make this the last time. No motherfucking more. Let's go. Keep this going. You know what? You know what? What do we do in this crowd? Why don't we make a couple of friends? Why don't we start to stick together? Why don't we just not come to this event and then just...
We out here right now. A rally right now in Harlem. We're on 100. We're on 125th. And this is a protest. Hold on, let me turn around so y'all can see. I just got my iPhone right now, so. And a lot of people out here. I'm gonna go to the front and see what's going on. Some people talking. So you got the police right there in the middle. Got some at the top. People got Black Lives Matter signs.
I'm taking videos. No, I'm already. I know, but I see better. Okay, we'll take pictures.
I'm gonna try to see if I can get closer so we can hear. But they're listening to a lady right now.
Let's see her. Wanna go a little bit closer?
Huh? Nah. No, I'm good. I'm gonna interview some people. Y'all probably can't hear him, but what he's saying is we can protest to get what we want without burning down stuff because we still got to come back here and live. I don't know if you guys can hear him, but that's what he's saying. There's...
There is a black life snuffed out in Harlem.
So, if y'all can understand him, he's saying that people got to come back here and live, which is true. At the same time, it's completely understandable why people breaking shit, because they feel like they haven't been heard. They feel like no one is listening. The only way that they can listen is they tear down some shit so people can stop and hear what the fuck that they're trying to say, because this shit is bigger than George. When people saw George, you know what they saw? They saw 400 years of oppression. They saw 400 years of inaction. They saw this country kill the most peaceful protester in the world, which is Martin Luther King, and they still killing people. So peaceful protests, they seen all that, and none of it works. So it's understandable. Whether I condone it or not don't matter. It's understandable. So,
ladies and gentlemen, I want you to give your absolute respect to an elder. My sister has lost their son. She's going to give you your story. Her name, right here out of Harlem, is Tommie Tyhefe.
how you doing, bro? Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
So I heard you talking about how it's important to make sure that, yeah, for sure. I just want to reiterate, because audience probably really couldn't hear you, how important it is for us to be out here. But I guess you're talking about making sure that we stay peaceful, because we got to come back here and live. If that's not what what I heard. Okay.
If you just step back, I'm going to shout, because I want to take this off. I wasn't saying we have to be peaceful because we live here. I'm saying we're not going to defile the community we live in because we're outraged. I think the outrageousness, we should have this indignation about what is happening. But to tear up your community is not the answer. And if you want to bring the drama, I feel you. Be passionate, but be constructive in that compassion. And the next time there's a shooting up the block, where's that crowd? Where are all those people that think Black Lives Matter that don't show up to help the brothers and sisters in the hood? That's what I'm trying to communicate. And if you bring 1% of this to the neighborhood, I'm with you all day long. But don't do this and don't show up for nothing else. I got a problem with that. I'm out here 24/7, 365, and it doesn't really matter. I grew up in Harlem when this was a shell and a hole in the ground. So I understand how many lives die here, but I've never seen so many white folks coming up here to do this and do that, and then the black people get all amped up, but when they're not here, they don't do anything for themselves. We gotta change that narrative, and if I'm wrong, hold me.
You used to do.
No, we gotta bring it back. No politicians tell you what. You vote them into office. You vote them in. You vote them in.
You sold us out. They sold us out, man.
You vote them in.
I love them. I vote all the time. But they sold us out. I was around when Fred was a city councilman, man. The only good politician we had up here was Denny Farrell. The rest of them, they sold us out.
Do you know me?
Yes, I know who you are. You're the assemblyman. But I know they sold us out. I've been an activist here for a long time too, brother.
Did you know I worked for 30 years for Denny?
I know. Denny was good. Denny Farrell. I know you got Denny Farrell.
I'm saying, I'm not. Let me let you go. But I'm not gonna change. I think we all have to do this together.
We do.
One person.
But my brother, I don't mean to argue with you.
No. We have
Denny Farrell was good. Denny Farrell was a good assemblyman. And Denny, I never seen Denny sell us out. Denny was good. Denny didn't sell us out.
So why do you think it's important for us to be out here? What should we be doing right
I think we all have to unite as one. Yes, we have good people in all race. That what happened in Minnesota was a disgrace. And I think, but the problem is, gentrification has hurt our communities bad, and the politicians are responsible for it. And so we have to change that narrative.
And we have to come back as a collective community, because when he's right, when nobody was up here in the 80s and the 70s, now everybody wants to come up here because they feel that black folks have been pushed out, so they feel that they can take control. Yes, that's an honest truth. One of the best assemblymen, you can sit down with Charles Barron. Barron will tell you the truth. They sold us out. We don't even own the seat that Adam Clayton Powell once had, because they sold Charlie out up in Albany when they did redistricting to get rid of him. Let's call it what it is.
So tell me, bro, you hear in the news and shit right now, they're talking about, protests, but you shouldn't be violent, and kind of almost, without building up, ridiculing the people that's passionate and not even acknowledging the passion and where it's come from and why they're upset, but they're just ridiculing them for burning stuff down. How do you feel about that?
They've taken away their jobs. They ain't got no jobs. The guy in the White House is a disaster. He's the problem in the White House. And we as a community, we need to come together as one. Go ahead, what you were saying, something about?
Yeah, it's just that how do you feel about how they're portraying people that are protesting right now, and they get a little passionate and they break some stuff because they feel like they haven't been heard?
But you have a right to protest. You have a right to be heard. That's democracy. It works for everybody.
Is it a right way to protest?
I agree with the assemblyman not to tear down your city. I agree with you. Don't tear down your city. Work to make your city a better place. I agree with that. Don't tear down your city. Work to make your city a better place and work with everybody collectively. We need to come together. What happened in Minnesota was wrong, but we need to come together as a collective group. And black on black crime, we need to address that too.
No, absolutely. But I would push back a little. I would push back just a little bit from mentioning black on black crime when we're talking about this, because they always try to convolute that to make one without the other. But I'm wondering though, now that we know that we need to come together more, obviously you feel like we missed the mark, like we haven't been together enough, and that's why this is happening. We haven't been voting enough for the people that look out for us, and that's why somebody like a police chief that can hire somebody like that and keep them as a police to kill somebody.
We do vote. If you look across the country, we got black mayors in all major cities. We do vote. That's not the problem. Our politicians need to stop selling out.
So that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about a black mayor. I'm talking about somebody that represents our policies, because a black mayor can just be a pawn for somebody white that want to get something else going on. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm talking about actual policy, the thing that'll actually benefit black people, benefit us in this community.
Like low-income housing.
All that, yeah.
Like low-income housing, Medicare, jobs that people could really benefit from.
Resources, so they won't feel like they have to do crimes.
I agree with you on that. And I think that once we get, like when Dinkins was in office, we had Safe City, Safe Streets. That was okay. Dinkins had another program that had people get jobs even when they were down and out. Dinkins had a program where they can go get training, and he transitioned them into city jobs. We need to bring all of that back. What de Blasio has done in administration, not a lot of African Americans in the administration. Come on, and then they play this game saying, "Oh, I'm helping," but he's really not. Where has de Blasio been spoke? Has he spoke on this issue?
Yeah, he spoke on it. He spoke on it 2 days ago. But it's not for nothing. What does that mean?
What does that mean?
You can speak all day.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to speak against the shit right now. It's easy to speak against it.
It's popular to speak against it. But let's really address the issue, and it's racism inside the job market. Out here, wherever it's racism. That's the bottom line. And until we have a real good conversation, sitting down at the table with everybody, that's how we'll solve it. We ain't gonna solve it by the way what we're doing now, because this is happening now. The lights, the cameras are all around, but when the cameras are gone, exactly. I mean, business as usual.
That's a great point. One more question before you leave. Why do you think this resonated a lot more broadly than normal? Normally around this time you'll see, he did this when he was 15 years old, or he did this to try to criticize his character. Why do you think right now? I mean, it's always national. Because to me, I feel like it seemed like everyone was so comfortable. If you like the guy that Derek had his hands in his pocket, just on his neck while he had his hands in his pocket, as calm as hell, looking at him being filmed as if I've done this before, ain't nothing gonna happen. You know what I mean?
He did have problems before in the black community, and he had a long rap sheet. But this time, people taped it and they caught it. And then also, it has a lot to do with what happened in Georgia. It had a lot to do with what happened here, and people kept getting away with it. People got tired of it. Come on, they got tired of it. You keep getting beat up by same thing happening over and over again, and nothing gets done. So people say, heck with this. What am I here for? People just lose it. I mean, I would have lost it too. I mean, the guy was on his neck like he was on the plantation, and just stepping on him.
That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, like a lynching. And then he's got his hand in his pocket, and he's got his hand.
It's like our ancestors.
Yeah, and got his hands in his pocket, and he's begging him, saying, and he's talking to his mother because the brother and mother died. So he's saying, please don't let this happen to me. And then we're in a pandemic at that. So he should have been more compassionate. And when he pulled him out of the car, he should have just said, whatever the charges may be, but you ain't had to do all of this. It was like, forgive my language, kill a nigga today.
No, that's exactly what it was.
That's what it was. That's what it was. Let's call it what it is. I mean, that cop got a long rap sheet, and we need to really address it. And I'm thankful for the people in that community, but I'm also thankful for people like Reverend Sharpton and Maxine Waters and Al Green, who's in the House, and others and good white folks too, who came out and said we're not going to tolerate this anymore. Because we got some bad apples in the black community, some bad apples in the white community, but this was a cop who was a bad apple. But he just got caught. You can't keep hiding behind your racism because you're going to catch up with you. And that's what happened. And so it resonated across the country. And so now you got mayors that saying, don't destroy your city. But sometimes people get tired of being beat down, man. Sometimes people get tired of being beat down. And then you also, right now, we have a pandemic, and people lost, 20 million people lost their jobs. So people are like 40 million. So people are desperate. And this is what happens. And then you got a guy in the White House who's an idiot too. And people voted for him. And he's part of the problem. But I'm going to tell you this, if people don't come out and vote in November, he will get reelected. We have to stay focused on voting him out of office and taking back and increasing our membership in the House and taking back the Senate.
Do you think Biden is a way to go when we talk about election? To me, it just seems like blatant racism versus cocktail party racism. It seems it's just two wings of the same bird to me.
But you know how you say you pick the best of the lesser two evils, and right now Biden might be the best. But we just have to hold him accountable. And like the Democratic caucus, the Democrats will hold him accountable and make sure that he does the right thing by all communities.
Should we be holding him accountable now before we put him in that White House so that he commit himself to policy before? Because once he get in, he doesn't have to do anything. He's not going to run. He's not going to run for a second election, right? More than likely, his vice president will. So should we hold him to the fire right now and have him commit to things before we give him our vote?
He will run for a second election if he wins this one. Nobody stays and just going to run for one election. Ronald Reagan ran for a second election, okay?
Cognitive decline, though. I don't think Reagan wasn't where he is right now.
Yeah, but we have to hold him accountable now. We have to put our policies on the table now. He has to sit down with those communities that have been marginalized now and hold them accountable.
One of my problems is that I feel like he thinks the black agenda is Kamala Harris. Like somebody that's black in office is the black agenda, and it's just not. You know what I mean? Because that's to me, they're talking about getting a black vice president. Like, what a black vice president gonna do if their policies is just like yours, as neoliberal as yours?
It's a ceremonial position, first of all, and they don't really make policy. We want people in policy positions that make policy for our community. The ceremonial stuff with her, that don't mean anything. Putting a black woman on the Supreme Court, that makes an impact.
Yeah, that makes a difference.
But making sure they put him, not somebody like Clarence Thomas. You understand? Because Clarence Thomas replaced Thurgood Marshall, who used to reside in this district. His office was right down the street, and he used to reside in this district. He was appointed in 1967, and he did a lot of great work. We need somebody of that caliber on the Supreme Court, not just George Weaver.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Mega have a student, man.
Have a good day. You too, bro. All right, be good. Be safe. Tide. Check me out. No, it's Tide. Yeah. The section. You can go on the section that's on YouTube and check it out.
Okay. So I'll be on YouTube.
Yeah, for sure. How you doing, bro? Good. What got y'all out here?
This here situation that blacks, Hispanics, American Indians, Orientals, Muslims don't mean nothing to the white race, not all white race, but majority of the white race, you know what I mean? And they are doing what their great-grandfathers do, you know what I mean? In this land, in the four corners of the earth, once they left Europe. You know what I mean? When they got on their ships, they didn't go out to make friends. And they're still doing the same damn thing. KKK, great-grandchildren, slave master great-grandchildren, skinhead great-grandchildren, slave owner great-grandchildren, and all these here great-grandchildren doing the same garbage. Now they got the black and Hispanic putting on a uniform, call him a brother, you know what I mean? Because he put on a uniform. Now, if he didn't have a uniform or a badge, he'd just be picking another nigga away to get a bullet. Because that's the white man's mind. He can't help that. It's in his blood, and he'll die with that. They'll put on the badge and call it law and call it right and call it justice. But how the heck do you justify bullets in the chest, in the heart of another human being? You know what I mean? And you don't see them shooting whites. You don't see that. They're either shooting Hispanics, shooting Muslims, shooting blacks, and they're shooting, you know what I mean? It's their mindset, it's in their heart, it's their way, and these stupid Orientals going down there to Chinatown killing their own, the blacks up here killing their own, the Hispanics killing their own, and all trained by the white man mentality. So we stop pointing finger, white man, stop killing the people for the hell of it, for the fun of it. What the heck do you think you're doing? So they get rid of that, and they back up. But they train our own people to do the same god dog madness to us. They're doing the same thing in Pakistan. They're doing the same thing in Afghanistan. They're doing the same thing in Iraq. They're doing the same thing in Iran. So then people kill up each other, and they run around, throw all their pillaging, their mummies, their wealth, and all this other stuff, and freaking wipe their hands on the whole god dog matter. Oh, see, we're not killing them. It's y'all doing each other. But it's a white man putting that mindset in him. It's not that I'm racist. I'm a realist. Because this even white man that stood up even with Martin Luther King when he marched, you know what I mean? So they're all white folks that don't accept all this, but the majority do. Go from 100th Street and walk down and hang out in Central Park and all that white area and watch the reactions. They don't want us. They really don't want us, and the police don't want us. And the people and the police will cater to that madness. They can't help it. It's in their blood. I'm sure when they get in their bars and in their homes and get it, they'll talk about these, I'm sure, spick and digger conversation. You know what I mean? Ha 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 ha! Real funny goddamn stuff. You know what I mean? At the blood of the people. They want to call it people, but we're not people. We're cattle, man. You know what I mean? And we're target practices, and we're this and that and this the other to them. But we're not equal. We're not the same. We're not eye to eye, heart to heart, mouth to mouth level individuals, because we're just not. It's not their nature of seeing us that way. You know what I mean? We're just, you know, it's sad. No, we can't. We're not gonna
Nothing we can do. I don't give a fuck what they say. There's nothing we can do to change their mind.
Stuff. Exactly.
We can be a police officer. We can be a lawyer, doctor. They still see us as a nigga.
That's it. You know what I mean? Because whatever official position we take here is still money that has got to be paid into the white man's pocket, because he put up these colleges, he put up all these schools, he put up all these offices, and we have to pay into them anyway. No matter how they're going to get it from the poor man, from the educated man, he's still going to milk us. That's the way he is. You know what I mean? He couldn't help that. You know what I mean? That's in his nature, that's in his blood. And our politicians are the same freaking way, you know what I mean? They make all these promises, they say all these things, but frankly, the rich put them in position, and the rich got other ideas. They might put up a building, they might put up a park or 99-cent store, but the rest of that property goes into condos and lofts and so on and so forth, because they're not going to cater to us. You know what I mean? They come say all kinds of promises, all kinds of precious things, but the rich have other plans, other ideas, and they got to cater to that or get put out of office. Because that money will take them out of there. You know what I mean? The money's got the power, and the power of that money put them in their office, and that power money will take them right on out of there. You know what I mean? And if they don't take them with money, they might threaten the son of a gun through their family and children. Because money can do some devious things if they want to, man. Money can be real foul and real crazy. You pay a crackhead to get ready to take you out. A crackhead will do it.
What's your name, bro?
Jamie.
Nice meeting you, bro. All right, appreciate you, man. Stay safe. So we out here. He was passionate, spitting all on me, though. So right now, we are here on Harlem. This is 125th, and I think this is, I don't know what street this is, Lenox or something like that. And so you can see Got the police presence right here. They're kind of lined up against the parameters. I guess this is how they're holding a parameter.
It's a difference
And
between benefiting and being racist.
But that's what I'm saying as well. Like, don't you think that?
There's a difference.
So if you flip the words, then were wrong. Aren't we saying then that the cops, by having a job that is benefiting from a racist system, means that there's something wrong with them?
I'm not saying cops are benefiting. I'm saying individuals may. But at the end of the day, you can't throw all cops into the same boat. Because do you feel that the majority of police officers are racist?
I feel like all of them are.
That's your personal feeling.
No, it's based on the system. If you're trained in the racist system, you can't help it. That's how they train you.
That's your personal opinion, my man. Because no. Do me a favor. Remove the microphone from my face because you didn't ask me if you could record this.
Well, I'm talking to me. If you don't want to talk to me, then you can go, bro. Yeah, all right. But the system is racist. So if you trained under a racist system, then you can't help but act in that way. Period. It just is what it is, whether you're a cop or not. If you are a cop, you should understand that. It is what it is. It was cops before you, and they was killing niggas before you. Period, point blank. And the system is racist. They train you to look at somebody and dictate how you feel they're going to do based on how they look. And they've been looking at us like that for years.
Let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
When you're walking around, do you not do the same thing when you feel uncomfortable in the neighborhood and you see brothers hanging on the corner? Do you not look and observe the situation and wonder what may happen?
Based on what neighborhood I'm in, yeah. So look, I'm from LA. It's not the same thing, okay? I'm not getting paid to protect people. I didn't sign up for that. Police is so scared. They scared. They want to go home. Your job ain't to go home. Your job is to protect me. That's it. Period. If you stop being scary and do your job, then maybe we wouldn't have all this extra bullshit that we're dealing with right now.
I appreciate your point of view.
Exactly.
And you know what the worst part is? The way that they enforce the laws is different in every neighborhood. Yep. In this neighborhood, the way they did social distancing is different than what they did in Central Park or on Staten Island or Lower Manhattan.
There's no way that they can continuously de-escalate a white person with a gun, but for some reason they killing niggas just because they feel like they have a gun. Come on now. You can't love being a cop that much that you can't recognize the real, bro. You still black, homie. If somebody pull you over and they don't know you're police, they'll kill you too, homie. I ain't claiming that I know you, but I know you black though, my nigga.
Instigating an argument.
I ain't instigating nothing. No, I'm not.
Because you won't leave me alone.
Huh? I am leaving you alone. I'm talking. I don't need to bounce, homie. I'm talking, bro. Ain't nothing wrong if you. I'm talking right here, homeboy. I'm talking right here. Homeboy. Yeah, right here though. I am. All kind of ways to address it. I ain't gonna even do that, bro. I ain't gonna even do that. You black. I ain't gonna allow that. You black. I'm black. So fuck it. I ain't gonna do that. I ain't gonna instigate that because that's what they want. So we out here. Y'all know every now and again I'm passionate, so I gotta just make sure. I hope. What's happening? Oh man, just interviewing people, see what got you out here. What's different this time, man? We deal with it all the time. But what's your name first?
Andrew.
I'm Ty. Nice to meet you. All right. Well, so tell me what's different about Gregory. Look, right now, look, we got the police presence. They're starting to come in heavy. What's the difference now with Gregory versus every other time? To me, it seemed like it's a bit different, and I feel like it was a few stages. You know, you tell me, how do you feel? What's the difference?
Okay. All right. Well, right now, I don't think there's a lot of difference. I just think that this is a crossroad in history. I'm going to call it this, a crossroad in history. We know we've had situations like this that have come up. This has been in the fabric woven throughout in America through time. We know that there's situations that have happened where African Americans have been targeted in terroristic ways just to maintain some type of what maybe the larger society might call a quote unquote control. And we all know that all this is propagated over false pretenses, over misconceptions, over just prejudices that have just gone throughout the country and throughout time. So this is a time where I just feel in 2020 we should be over that. And unfortunately we're not. And because we are not, I think that at this time, over 150 years since the Emancipation Proclamation, unfortunately, they're not. And so we just have to raise a voice to speak about humane treatment is the most important thing. Hear me when I say this. Humane treatment. We're not going to agree with everybody. You're not going to like everybody. You have to be best friends with everybody. But everybody deserves humane treatment no matter what circumstance they're in, especially when it comes to dealing with the law enforcement and legal matters. So because he did not, it blatantly appeared that he did not look like he was receiving due justice afforded to him by the laws of this land. That's a wrong. And America needs to rectify it. It's that simple.
So, one more question, bro. Is there ways? Obviously, nothing has helped, nothing has benefited us up until this point, as far as police perception of who we are. Is this something? Do you think it's something that we can do to change that, or is it nothing that we can do because they're going to feel the way that they feel about us anyway?
Got you. If you're talking we, as in the African American community, first of all, I don't think that we should just be excluded to just African American. It has to come from everybody who's responsible, okay? That means white America, yellow America, brown America, black America, America all together as one has to address the needs of inhumane treatment. That's what this all boils down to again, inhumane treatment. And it has to be dealt with properly, or else this cancer is going to come back, right? The infection will come back if it's not given the proper doses of antibiotics. So we as a people, this is not just now a black thing, right? We are not the only ones in the United States, and yes, we can solidify and come together when it comes to our common purpose, our black purpose. But at the same time, we have to realize that we live in a country where we're around a lot of different people, and we have to learn how to get along and go and do and work with other people and expect other people to be able to work with us as well, and to work to rectify again the wrongs. Unless people everybody has to take responsibility. This is not just the black folks have to take responsibility. Do black folks have to take responsibility for our actions? Yes. Am I asking people to say, oh, but we have to be angels and walk around just doing no wrong? That's unrealistic. We're humans. Humans are going to make mistakes. But we have to have a mindset that we have to be about something progressive. We have to be aggressive, and we have to be in a loving way concerned about our people, or else things might get out of hand. And then and look what happens when they do. Are we together as we should to work so that we can make sure justice is being done? We'll see.
For sure. I appreciate you, brother. Thanks. So that was good. Something he said, that we need to work together with other people. Lately, for the past couple of days, I've been frustrated with that shit. I feel like we don't need to wait on white people to do nothing. I think all black people need to get guns and make sure that we protect our families, because if we don't do that, they're gonna continue to kill us. If it's one thing that every time white people protest, they got guns on them and nothing ever happened. So if we get guns, then we ain't got to worry about it. We can protest and they'll check themselves. If they see we're on the same level as they are, they'll check themselves. So anything else, I ain't there right now. I'm frustrated. It may change in some days, but I'm frustrated. I'm angry. And I think all black people need to arm themselves. And then we can talk about diplomacy, because we've been trying it for 400 years. There's no way possible that shit can still be the same. You can watch a black and white clip of police brutality and see the same shit right now and think that we still need to be making the same actions for a different solution. If you want something different, you got to do something different. We got a Second Amendment right. I'm talking about a legal firearm. We have a Second Amendment right. We have the right to protect our families. We have a right to protect our bodies. We have a right to see our children grow up, go to college, be doctors or whatever. Just the right to live. And if that means we have to have a gun to protect ourselves, then make sure you got a gun to protect yourself. Period. That's how I feel. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with feeling that way. So this is what's going on. There's a lot of people out here right now. I see a sign that say Trayvon should be alive today. That's exactly right. See, that's what I'm talking about. If Trayvon had a gun on him, it would have probably been different. Stop state violence. It's maybe around 300 people out here, 400 people out here just protesting. White silence condone violence. Yeah, that's true. That's true. If you look over here, you got the police kind of like lining up the street to see if, I don't know, I guess they're trying to keep people from getting hit by cars or something. And I don't know if you guys know, but last night, I think it was about 18 states that protest. Portland, Los Angeles, well, I would say cities. It's probably like 50 cities. San Francisco, Dallas, Houston, Washington, D.C., Brooklyn. Last night was Brooklyn, Harlem. Where else? Missouri, Ferguson. St. Louis. There's about like 30 or 40 different cities that had an uprising last night, and I think it's going to continue. I'll put it like this. Hey, Clapper. So this is what I've been thinking, is that I'm like, oh, my bad. When we talk about like protesting and people out there, they're uprising and they breaking stuff, and you have a lot of pundits on television saying that, oh, they shouldn't be doing this. This is not the right way. There's another way. There's another way. This is not the right way. You're not going to get nothing done. If you guys are listening, you hear that, you hear somebody tell you that this is not the right way, you know what you should say? You should say, the colonies before 1776 had protests and uprising, and I'm sure somebody said that wasn't the way, and all of a sudden we have the United States of America. So I think this is the way. And first, and you also got to understand that they're reacting to something. They're reacting to inaction. They're reacting to Derek with his knee in George's neck, with his hands in his pocket, looking directly in the camera, know that he's been filmed, and could care less and couldn't care less, as if this is what I do all the time and I know I'm gonna get away. That's what they're reacting to. They're reacting to the Asian cop, Tayo, that stood there and protected with a look of indifference on his face as he heard George cry out for his mother and say his stomach hurt and his throat hurt. They're reacting to, I think the lady's name was Amy. Amy at the park, the bird watching. They're reacting to her weaponizing herself, weaponizing blackness, and threatening to call the police officer on the guy, and threatening to say he's black because she knows, she's fully aware, she's confident if she say he's black, first off they're gonna come fast and he may die. And she weaponized that for her own benefit, even though it was a possibility that he could have died that day at that park. In addition to that, they're reacting to Ahmad, to Brianna, to every black person who's been trending on Twitter because they got killed by the police since Trayvon Martin. They're reacting to the not guilty verdict during the Rodney King case. They're reacting to Amadou Dali, I think, that was killed by police in New York. I think it was like 1999. They're reacting to Botham Jean being shot in his own home by another cop. They're reacting to black victims having their character smeared because they're killed by the police. They're reacting to Latasha Harding and that Asian lady not getting no time for murdering that little black girl. It was more than just George when they saw that. They saw every time that it happened, even before they was born. Stories that their mother told, that their father told, that their uncle told, that their grandfather told, that their granny told, of the same type of action from the police, and it's still going on and nothing's happened. That's what they're reacting to. They reacted to the lynching style of that knee in his neck and him dying slow, as if he was hung on a string, dying slow, begging for his mother. That's what they're reacting to. So it's more than just the majority of black people can connect to police violence. They know that their brother, their father, their mother, their homeboy down the street, somebody that they work with, that's been fucked with by the police, that's been harassed by the police, that's been killed by the police. You know what I'm saying? So my uncle got his eye socket beaten out by the police. They chased him in my granny house, and they beat the shit out of him. I mean, he robbed the post office. I mean, he robbed the mailman. But that's neither here nor there. There's a protocol. There's a way, because you get frustrated. LAPD, you do that shit all the time. They get frustrated, and if they have to chase you, they're gonna beat the shit out of you. And that's what they did to him. I mean, it was the Compton PD. None of that's justified. They think they could justify something just because they chase you. They got the right to beat you, or they got the right to shoot you in your back. I think I heard Barack Obama say one time that the biggest job for a police officer is to go home. And that's just not true. The biggest job for a police officer is to protect me, to protect the community. To go home, they sign up not to go home. That's just like saying your Secret Service, that's their job is to go home. No, their job is to make sure you go home. Period. That's what it's for. But see that, but that's the mentality. That's why they get it fucked up. That's why they can think you have a gun and you got a wallet and shoot you because they're so scared and they want to go home. They're not holding up to their responsibility and what they signed up for. I didn't sign up to get killed on the street. I didn't sign up to get killed while walking down the street. You signed up to protect me, and through that, if you get killed, then that's what happens. But you made that choice. Period. Y'all feel me?
Yes, we do.
Exactly. So they know. I'm interviewing them though. Yeah. So tell me, what got you out here, and why you think it's important for us to be out here, for us to continue to press their neck?
Me per se, I just feel like my sister's 13. She just got arrested, and I'm afraid for her. Like, if you arrest a 13-year-old female up, you don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, your job is to protect us, not to make us afraid. My sister was scared. She did nothing. Somebody accused her of something, of a gun, actually. They accused her of something, and a whole bunch of police came, and she was afraid. So I'm here for her and a whole bunch of other people and their children, my brothers, my sisters. I'm here for us, just to speak. Because if we don't, they do whatever they want to do, and I'm not here for it. That's right.
I think it seemed like this resonated. Like this incident was a little different than normally. If a black person get killed by the police, they try to find 11 reasons why the police did it. They want to know, what the rest of the videotape, what happened before. You hear all the bullshit, yeah. Or they then try to demonize his character by going on his Facebook or something. I haven't seen much of that this time. What's different this time, do you think, that have people all kind of on the same page with this?
Afraid. That's just why I feel. We're not afraid. We here. We standing up, and you can't take all of us at one time. So we just trying to build us together and stick together. That's why I'm here. We all here.
I'm not even talking about us. We always ride. We know what it's about. But normally white people be on that bullshit sometime. You know what I'm saying? Saying that well, what did he do? And try to look at his Facebook page to demonize him. Why do you think that's not happening right now?
Because there's a whole bunch of different, you can't say that our skin color, we go by our skin color. It's normally happening to black people. There's not only black people here. We're all standing up united. It's African American people, it's Caucasians, it's Spanish, it's everybody here. So that's why I feel like they can't say, oh, it's not only black people that feel this way. It's everybody. It's the whole world right now, So that's why. That's just my opinion. My name is Paris. Paris? Yes, Paris. Nice to meet you.
For sure. God bless you, for sure. Yeah, so to me, I feel like I think it's resonated differently this time because the majority you've never really seen someone die like that slowly with a knee in the neck. What it reminded me of is a lynching, like someone actually being hung from a rope and dying slow and trying to get their breath and dying, being hung from a tree. That's why I've been crying the past 4 days. Is because that's what I see. I see a lynching. I see 400 years of oppression. I see 3,446 lynchings from emancipation to the end of the Jim Crow era. That's what I saw when I saw him begging for air, saying his stomach hurt. It's about 300 or 400 people out here. I'm gonna see if I can interview some more people. So I'll ask a few. George Floyd. How y'all doing? Can I interview y'all?
I'm okay.
You okay?
I'm okay. Yeah.
Y'all good?
Thank you.
Y'all don't want to tell people why y'all out here, why we should be out here? It's okay. So, people out here, I think that should start from a local level to a state level. You need to get the right people in locally. That's going to represent your interests, not your color, but your interests, because there's hella black people out here just bidding for white people. So you want to make sure you have someone that represents your interests, whether they're black, white, or Chinese. If they're talking about popular shit, Medicare for all, if they're talking about a living wage, if they're talking about affordable housing, that should be your candidate because that's what you need. Don't vote against your interests just because they're black because Obama thought that the black agenda was him, because he ain't do nothing for black people but sign a couple executive orders, and now they're gone because he didn't address it when he should have addressed it. You know what I'm saying? So you just want to make sure that you're not fighting against your own interests, because I think that's right now when you think about like Joe Biden, people are saying you know, like, I mean, it's not even the majority of black people. It's just like black people with a large platform saying, "Oh, black people want a black vice president." Why would we want a democratic capitalist that don't give a fuck about us? That I got two. Y'all know I got two brothers doing life right now. Kamala Harris was a district attorney in California. In '97, and that's the reason why. And she got hella baggage. She's never been. I think she denied at one point they wanted to have what they call community accountability, and what that means is that the police elect a couple people from the community to be able to look at different actions from police and then have an independent evaluation. And she voted against that. That was going to be law in California, and she voted against that. And we're talking about voting for the community to be able to check police behavior in different communities, and she voted against that. I'm from LA, I'm from California, so I know Kamala Harris. Everybody else just getting to meet her because she's a senator, and she doesn't represent y'all state. So do your research. You want somebody to represent your interests, represent your people's interests. I was in Chicago a couple months ago covering the protest for another black kid getting killed, and I was talking to a lot of activists. And one of the things they said we got more black representation in the city than anybody, and the only thing they do is pass legislation that benefits people that live in downtown Chicago. So that's why we got to pay attention to the people that we have. We can't wait till we don't have a choice and then vote between the lesser of two evils. We got to make sure that the person that we want, for sure. Pakistanis for Black Lives, that's right. Appreciate it. Yeah, that's good. So that's what we want to make sure we do. Asians do it. Asians vote their interests. They get people in office. Everybody do it. Ain't nothing wrong with voting your interests. You want to live comfortable. You want to make sure you have resources. Everybody fall on hard times or something. You want to make sure that there's a security blanket, so if you do fall on hard times, that you don't lose your home, or you don't lose your car, or you don't lose everything just because a couple bad months. So that's what's going on out here. I'm hot. Oh shit, I need a water. Can I get a water, bro? How much is it?
It's free.
Oh, I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank y'all for being on.
For sure. That's good. That's good. They said fuck the police. I think I got in an argument with a police officer earlier. Or he must have been a police supporter, because he was definitely arguing with me earlier when we was over there. Yeah, on the other side. So we out here. This is we're on 125th in Harlem, right by the Apollo Theater. And well, I think people have been out here for a minute. Maybe like since I've been here for close to 2 hours. And so I think now we're marching back. I'm gonna just turn this around so y'all can see. They've been marching and speaking for an hour, about an hour and a half. And so one thing I want to point out is that as we were marching, a police van got stuck in the intersection, and people was blocking it, and it could have went real bad, and they let it go. So people out here really trying to be peaceful, because I know if we was where I'm from, that wouldn't have happened. So people out here really trying to be peaceful. They're not really fucking with the police like that. They let the van go. They had them in the middle of the section, in the middle of the intersection, and they let them go. I think I got it on video. They let them go. So they really trying to be peaceful. They're just trying to be heard. They ain't trying to break nothing. They ain't trying to fuck with the police. So, you know, it is what it is. I think they should fuck with the police personally. So look. So now we're crossing District 125th and Adam Clayton. And it's a lot of people. I know y'all can see. It's a lot of people. So tell me why you out here.
Well, I'm here because my children are African American, and there is just no way I can just stand and not be here. Black lives matters, brown lives matters. I have friends from all over that are just all different colors, and there is no way if white do not stand with our black friends, our black families. I don't know how this is going to be possible to achieve what we need. We need to be all together to really achieve, you know, the stop on police brutality. So everybody has to stand up. White, Asian, everybody needs to come together to stop this. So until this is not over, I will keep on protesting. This is my daughter right here, and there is no way that I'm just going to be a bystander.
Look at that. She's not gonna be a bystander because she got black kids too. She know what she know what the risk is.
Let's go.
So, look like we just passed 100 Adam Clayton.
No justice, no peace.
You got a lot of people in solidarity. People driving, blowing their horn, agreeing with what's going on. I just want to continue to point out that everybody here is low-key peaceful, and they're not even fucking with police. So, ain't nobody breaking nothing. But they're not fucking with police either. I don't know why, but I can respect it. And I think it's been about 2 hours now, been protesting. I'm not sure how far they're going, but you see, like people on the side encouraging and agreeing with them. You see, it goes all the way back. Right now, if you see all the way at the end of the light there, you see that? Tell you that.
No peace. Fuck the racist police. No justice, no peace. Fuck the racist police. No justice, no peace. Fuck the racist police.
Why is it important for us to be out here right now?
Because we have to fight for our people. Like, shit just keeps happening and nothing is changing. And this is just going to be a start. We have to keep going. We can't stop, because if we don't stop, then what else are we going to do? Keep dying? It's important. We have to be out here. We have to support each other. Black lives matter. Period.
Black lives matter. Period.
So tell me, do you think it was something different seeing George be lynched the way he was? So how slow he died, how he cried for his mother, and saying his stomach hurt. Like, to me, it felt like someone being lynched, like hung, and dying slow. That's why it was so intense for me.
They fucking executed him. He didn't get up. He could have got up. He wasn't resisting. He wasn't fighting back. He never fought back. He wasn't resisting. So yeah, it fucking sucks. And I'm mad because why do we deserve this? Who gives you the power to keep taking us out? Y'all can't keep taking us out. Like, what do you guys want? This is a fucking genocide. We can't keep doing this to each other. This is crazy. This is crazy. We're all humans.
We are human. So, how do you feel about this? The last 4 days, I've been sitting at home crying, trying to figure it out because I just been real upset and I didn't really know what to do with it because I felt like my hands was behind my back because they were just gonna continue to kill us. And then I was looking at this protest at the Capitol with these white people, and they jumped in front of the police face, and they was yelling, and the police held their composure. And the reason why was because those white people had guns on them. Do you think that we need to start practicing our Second Amendment to protect our family from these racist police officers? Because if you're on the same level, they'll de-escalate a situation before they try to have that confrontation if they know that you have a firearm on you. Do you think that's something more black people should be trying to look into? Just like because when the Black Panthers was out, they had firearms to protect their communities and nothing happened. It was only when the police took it away that they started killing them.
I think that we should execute it, but I think we should be educated and not ignorant and just go into it guns blazing. We have to know our rights and know that we can bear arms, but we have to do it correctly. We have to do it correctly because that just gives them like a chance to go in there and come in for us. Like, we have to do it right. If we're gonna do it, we have to do it right.
That's what I'm talking about, doing it right, I'm talking about doing it legally, doing it right, getting everything you need, but that's a good, to me, I feel like that's a good approach because then they're open to talk to us. They won't just beat us and kill us because we're on the same playing field.
Exactly. We just have to be educated, educate ourselves, read the laws, and know what we have to do. Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. My name is Kaya. Kaya.
Thank you, Kaya. Be safe out there, all right? So that was Kaya. That was low-key a leading question, so I kind of made her say yeah by saying, but I've been starting to think more and more. I need a water. Can I grab one? Can I have one? Thank you, appreciate you. They got people giving out water too. Appreciate you. They giving out water, making sure that people, just good. So, like I said, it was kind of a leading question because I've been thinking the past couple of days about the Second Amendment and about back in the day. And I'm talking about specifically protecting your family, protecting yourself, allowing your kid to be able to live a full life and not die prematurely because of some scared ass cop that want to make it home instead of protecting and serving. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. I ain't talking about nothing. I ain't talking about no illegal stuff. I'm not talking about no go jump on the police with guns. I'm talking about Second Amendment legal so you can protect your family so your kid can grow up and reach his full potential. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. Because we've seen cases over and over again when white people protest and they got their guns on their side, the police check themselves. The same shit don't happen when they protest when we protest. There's obviously it's because they're white. Another reason is because they got guns on their side. They all on the same playing field. So I think black people should all look into what the Black Panthers did with protecting our community, having our guns, making sure that we solid, just so our kids can grow. That's all it's about. Because we've seen cases over and over again when white people protest and they got their guns on their side, the police check themselves. The same shit don't happen when they protest when we protest. Obviously it's because they're white. Another reason is because they got guns on their side. They all on the same playing field. So I think black people should all look into what the Black Panthers did with protecting our community, having our guns, making sure that we solid, just so our kids can grow. That's all it's about. Having our kids see a future. Making them not feel hopeless, making them feel so hopeless that they don't even reach for the skies because they feel like they're gonna be dead before they're 22. You know what I'm saying? And then start getting people in office that actually represent us in the local level and the state level. The local level and the state level. Yeah, you're making them turn. So, there you go. There you go. There you go. Thank you. Thank you. So the lady, the paramedic was trying to come through this street where everybody was protesting. They blocked it. That lady put her car in front of him and made him go to the side. Well, she should have done that on his own with his dumb ass. So that's what's going on right now. This is another reason why I hesitated to come out. I get real emotional when it comes to the police. When I get involved and I done dealt with this shit like my entire life. You know what I'm saying? People that know me know my story. And I'm emotional. And I'll be ready to do some dumb shit. That's why I was staying in, because I couldn't handle my emotions. I was just crying. I couldn't control it. So I feel a little better today. And so I came out to cover it in a protest. I'm gonna drink some water right quick. So they yelling, "No justice, no peace." I'm not familiar with New York, so I don't know what street we're on right now. I don't know what block we're going. I'm not real familiar with the city, but it looked like we're hitting blocks, we're hitting streets, and we're by a park. So I know we're in Harlem, and we're by a park. I'm really not. They yelling, "I can't breathe, I can't breathe," and that sounds real familiar to people here, because Eric Gardner, the same thing happened. He said he couldn't breathe, and so for people in New York, this really resonates and strike a nerve. And I just want to reiterate and mention again that they literally had a police van blocked in on the intersection, and they let them go. They let them go. So even though the police out here killing them and doing all that, they still gave the police a pass. I want to point that out. I haven't seen anything being broken. People are out here just trying to be heard, which is good. I just want to point that out, and it's honest, because I literally thought it was going to be on because a lot of people started surrounding it, and I thought we was about to get into it, and it would have been justified if they did as well. It would have been completely justified, but they didn't. They did the right thing, and they let them go. Somebody cleared the way, and they let them go. So I was reading this Malcolm Gladwell book, and there's a part in there where he was talking about society and what does it take to have a successful society. He said it's a contract between the citizens of that society and legislators, lawmakers. So and I think he pointed out 3 different things that this society have to agree on. And I'm paraphrasing, but I think one of them is, what do we believe in? What is legal or illegal? And who is protected? And so when you have those 3 things that you agree on, it's like a contract. And that's how you try to sustain a society. It's an agreement. And when you have people that protest, that's because their government isn't living up to their agreement. This is an agreement. People wouldn't be out here protesting if they wasn't being killed. The agreement said that police are supposed to protect and serve. So y'all breached the agreement. So that's what I want to try to articulate or get out there, is that a society is an agreement between the lawmakers and the citizens. And if that agreement is breached, then people protest. That's why there's no right or wrong way to protest, because something's wrong. That's why they're protesting. So if you look at it from that point of view, you'll start to, the question to become then, how do we breach the contract versus they're breaking shit, knocking shit down? You'll be trying to see the inception of the thing, why they're reacting the way they're reacting, not what the reaction is, and let's try to get to the inception. You know what I'm saying? You only can kill cancer when it's an embryo. When it's done, you can't try to. I mean, you can give it chemo, but you missing the point. It's the inception of it. You got to get the. It's a same situation when you try to build more prisons to put people in jail. People gonna still commit crimes until you get rid of poverty, until you start putting resources and jobs in their community. That's the problem. You got to get the inception of the problem, man. The inception of it. And honestly, I'm glad I came to this one because it's peaceful. And I've been enraged. I've been enraged, and I've been wanting to go. And this is peaceful, and it's a sunny day, and it got my spirits up. So I'm happy I came to this one because I think I can now think and not just feel helpless. This gives me a little encouragement, so I appreciate people in Harlem. Look. He playing Public Enemy. That's hard. I'm in New York, by the way, if y'all don't know. And see, if you was in LA, they'd be playing. They'd probably be playing YG, fuck Donald Trump, or NWA, fuck the police. But we're in New York. But so I do feel better. I feel more encouraged than I did. I'm telling y'all. These past couple days, I was thinking some shit, y'all. It wasn't looking good. I'm telling you, I was ready. It was a collection of things too. You know what I'm saying? I'm out here. It's been a little rough since I got to New York. You know what I'm saying? This pandemic, which stopped a lot. And then, and then, look like something going on. And then, Ahmed, seeing that they gave his case a reject. It was a DA reject. They didn't even take the case. Then Amy Cooper, I guess. And then George. All those things. And George really, because George was like a lynching to me. Come on, bro. All right. And I'm peaceful with black people. I'm going to do that. I ain't fighting no black people. I almost did just right now. I almost did twice to keep it 100. Oh, somebody, look like that glasses, bro. Talking about police. And then he was going to tell me, just get away from me. He told me, like, just didn't move. And I didn't take that well. And then in the middle of it, I was like, you know what? Stop, you black. So it's showing, look like I think it's well within their right to bust this car up. They've been busting up black people. It's only a car. It's okay. So they got nightsticks. So this is where it is. Where's the Okay, come on, hey. Get on the sidewalk, All right, so keep walking, y'all keep walking. There's a whole crowd protesting, okay, go protest. So, this is, I was just telling my friend to go protest because she over here trying to look. I'm like, it's going to get rough. So it look like they fucking up this cop car. It's only a car. It's only a cop car. They've been fucking up black people for years. It's only a cop car. It look like it's, see. You got police getting behind people. You got to be careful. They try to attack you from behind. He was just behind me right now. I'm gonna stay away from him. Y'all see me trying to move out the way. He trying to get behind you. So they right here. So you got people out supporting, sitting outside, supporting, no justice, no peace. I think my phone about to die in a minute. So, matter of fact, I'm gonna log out because my phone about to die. How y'all feel?
Sorry, baby.
No, you good, mama? Go ahead. You feel safe out here?
Yes. I feel safe to walk around in New York City and in Harlem. On the west side, on the east side, it's so crazy. I feel safe to walk around people that I don't even like. All right, because they still my family. Right? We all brothers and sisters. And this is what we need to be doing. This is revolutionary, all right? This is one thing that hasn't been done since Martin Luther King days, all right? We are out here. Everybody, we are out here.
Why is it important that we be out here right now?
Because together we are more powerful. Right. Stop us. Right. We are here to win. No more dying. No more dying, no more surviving. We are living. Everybody is living. Everybody should see golden ages, all right? Nobody should die at 20 years old just because you're black and you want to be outside. Thank you.
Thank you. What's your name, mama?
Diavion White.
Diavion?
Yes, you can follow me on Instagram at @di_the_influencer.
All right, for sure. That's Diavion. I think she said some real shit. Like, people just want to live. People just want to live. We shouldn't have to protest to live. You know what I'm saying? We shouldn't have to protest to be decent and to be looked at as a man. Say it again, bro.
It's their obligation to fight for us, but they want to fight against us, man. Fuck that shit, bro. Exactly. Man, yo, power to the people. We
power to the people
together.
For sure. That's what he just said. They're supposed to be protecting us, and they want to fight against us. And I think because they have a misperception of what their job is. Their job is to protect and serve, not to make it home. If they make it home, that's great. But they signed up to protect and serve, to make sure I make it home. So I think they need to. I think one of the they have a misunderstanding of their duties and what they signed up for. But I'm gonna go ahead and log out. My phone about to die, so I gotta catch up. I'll log back in a minute. All right. Live from Harlem.
When I was a kid, they took my fucking head and slammed it against a fucking gate. When I was a kid, they took my basketball and threw it on the roof. Fuck the ops. Y'all ain't shit. Y'all don't understand rage, motherfuckers. Yeah, you over there in the blue. You pussy. You vagina. Fuck you. This is God voice, motherfucker. Damn right. Shout out to my guy for recording this. And I do it for my people. And you know we can get lethal. And I'm higher than the eagle. Police, I don't see you. Fuck the police, I don't see you. I don't see you, I don't see you. I'm just paying with my easel. I feel like Basquiat. I go all day, I go non-stop. I do it for my people, cause we are the people. And if you next to me, then I really need you. I see you. I'm looking at myself through your eyes. I'm asking the question, why? Why are they killing our people? Why are they doing this shit? Cause they evil. They demons, I see them. It ain't nothing to me. Fuck the ops. I go non-stop. Got it? Damn right. Been doing this. Black codes. Black codes. The police were invented to stop slaves. You don't want me to go that turn? What? What? Y'all hold a group. The origin of what the cops are was to stop slaves. That's all you are, a fucking slave catcher. But we're not slaves. We're masters. Nothing can stop us when we're together like this. They want us separate. Nothing can stop us. When I see these different faces and we're out here together for a cause, for a reason. Because we need to do it. Because we can't let it happen again. We can't let it happen again. No more. Let's make this the last time. No motherfucking more. We're gonna keep this going. You know what? You know what? What do we do in this crowd? Why don't we make a couple of friends? Why don't we start to stick together? Why don't we just not come to this event and then just walk off like the other fucking event? Why don't we start to get, hey, what's your name? What's your name? Network. Abraham. Shout out to Gabriel. Shout out to Gabriel. George. Shout out to George. Rodrigo. Thank you for being out here, Rodrigo. My name is Lonnie.
Y'all check out Lonnie. And all of a sudden, he got everybody here together talking about some real shit. So just y'all should accept when y'all look at somebody. Y'all look at him crazy because he's mad and he upset. He should be mad and y'all should understand why he's mad. And now we got all y'all up here hugging and getting to know each other. Y'all probably thought it was going to be something else.
Yeah, let's mingle. It doesn't end here. It doesn't end here. Let's intermingle. Let's stick. Let's coalesce. Let's coalesce. Let's come together on this. Let's agree that it's fuck the ops. 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 No love for ops. Fuck the 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 ops. Got it. 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 Go! That's what it is.
No justice, no peace.
Yeah. Yeah. And from tomorrow, we go back from scratch. Tomorrow, we're back at zero. We're back at zero. Tomorrow, we're back at zero. So we need to come forward. We need to go to number 1. Then we need to go to 2. We need to fucking multiply. We don't die, we multiply. That's right. Fuck the ops. We multiply. Fuck the ops. 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 I ain't losing my breath. 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 Fuck the ops. 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 We ain't stop. We ain't stop. Fuck the ops. Fuck the ops. We ain't stop. We ain't stop. Fuck the ops. Fuck the ops. And what you got? What you got? What you got? What you got?
They're tired of people saying over and over again that we're just basically one bill away or one election away from some progress. It's not the racist white person who's in the Ku Klux Klan that we have to worry about. It's the white liberal Hillary Clinton supporter walking her dog in Central Park who would tell you right now, people like that, oh, I don't see race. Race is no big deal to me. I see us all as the same. I give to charities. But the minute she sees a black man who she does not respect or who she has a slight thought against, she weaponized race like she had been trained by the Aryan Nation. A Klans member could not have been better trained to pick up the police and pick up her phone and tell the police it's a black man, African-American man, come get him. So even the most liberal, well-intentioned white person has a virus in his or her brain that can be activated at an instant. And so what you're seeing now is a curtain falling away. And those of us who have been burdened by this every minute, every second of our entire lives are fragile right now. We are fragile right now. We are tired. And so I appreciate people who...
Hey, what's going on, everybody? You know what's really interesting about what's happening in America right now is that a lot of people don't seem to realize how dominoes connect, how one piece knocks another piece that knocks another piece, and in the end creates a giant wave. Each story seems completely unrelated, and yet at the same time, I feel like everything that happens in the world connects to something else in some way, shape, or form. And I think this news cycle that we witnessed in the last week was a perfect example of that. Amy Cooper, George Floyd, and the people of Minneapolis. Amy Cooper was, for many people, I think, the catalyst. And by the way, I should mention that all of this is like against the backdrop of coronavirus. People stuck in their houses for one of the longest periods we can remember. People losing more jobs than anyone can ever remember. People struggling to make do more than they can ever remember. And I think all of that compounded by the fact that there seems to be no genuine plan from leadership. Like, no one knows what's going to happen. No one knows how long they're supposed to be good, how long they're supposed to stay inside, how long they're supposed to flatten the curve. No one knows any of these things. And so what happens is you have a group of people who are stuck inside. All of us as society, we're stuck inside. And we then start to consume. We see what's happening in the world. And I think Amy Cooper was one of the first moments that one of the first dominoes that we saw get knocked down post-corona for many people. And that was a world where you quickly realize that while everyone is facing the battle against coronavirus, Black people in America are still facing the battle against racism and coronavirus. And the reason I say it's a domino is because think about how many Black Americans just have read and seen the news of how Black people are disproportionately affected by coronavirus. And not because of something inherently inside Black people, but rather because of the lives Black people have lived in America for so long. Coronavirus exposed all of it. And now here you had this woman who, we've all seen the video now, blatantly knew how to use the power of her whiteness to threaten the life of another man and his Blackness. What we saw with her was a really, really powerful, explicit example of an understanding of racism in a structural way. When she looked at that man, when she looked at Cooper and she said to him, I'm gonna call 911 and I'm gonna tell them there's an African American man threatening my life. She knew how powerful that was. And that in itself is telling. It tells you how she perceives the police. It tells you how she perceives her perception or her relationship with the police as a white woman. It shows you how she perceives a Black man's relationship with the police and the police's relationship with him. It was powerful. Because so many people act like they don't know what Black Americans are talking about when they say it. And yet Amy Cooper had a distinct understanding. She was like, oh, I know that you're afraid of interacting with the police because there is a presumption of your guilt because of your Blackness. I know that as a white woman, I can weaponize this tool against you. And I know that by the time we've sifted through who was right or wrong, there's a good chance that you will have lost in some way, shape, or form. And so for me, that was the first domino. And so now you're living in a world where so many people are watching this video. So many people are being triggered because in many ways it was like a gotcha. It was like the curtain had been pulled back. Aha, So you do this because it's always been spoken about, but this was like, it was powerful to see it being used. And I think a lot of people were triggered by that. A lot of people were like, damn, we knew it was real, but this is like real, you know? I think a lot of people also angry that some of the outrage that came to her was because of her dog. And I mean, I get it, you know, but it was, a lot of people felt like it would have been great if the dog shelters had the same, I guess, power or if police departments were run by the people who run dog shelters, because they seem to act like this. They didn't waste time. They were like, nope, we'd like our dog back, lady. Which I'm going to be honest, I think that was a hell of a punishment. Her job is one thing, taking a white lady's dog. That was a nice dog. And so that was the first domino, you know? It was the first domino where I felt like you could feel something stirring. And all of this, again, is in the backdrop. It's coronavirus has happened. The numbers have come out. You know, the story of Ahmaud Arbery in Georgia, that story has come out. All of these things are happening. And then the video of George Floyd comes out. And I don't know what made that video more painful for people to watch. The fact that that man was having his life taken in front of our eyes, the fact that we're watching someone being murdered by someone whose job is to protect and serve, or the fact that he seemed so calm doing it, you know? Oftentimes we're always told that police feared for their life. It was like a threat. And you know, you always feel like an asshole when you're like, you didn't fear for your life. Why did you fear for your life? How did you fear? But now more and more we're starting to see that it's like, no, it doesn't seem like there's a fear. It just seems like you can do it, so you did it. There was a black man on the ground in handcuffs, and you could take his life, so you did. Almost knowing that there would be no ramifications. And then again, everyone on the internet has to watch this. Everyone sees it. It floods our timelines as people. And I think one ray of sunshine for me in that moment was seeing how many people instantly condemned what they saw. You know, and maybe it's because I'm an optimistic person, but I don't think I've ever seen anything like that, especially not in America. I haven't seen a police video come out and just see across the board. I mean, even Fox News commentators and police chiefs from around the country immediately condemning what they saw. No questions, not what was he doing, not just going, no, what happened here was wrong. It was wrong. This person got murdered on camera. And then the police were fired. Great. But I think what people take for granted is how much for so many people that feels like nothing, you know? How many of us as human beings can take the life of another human being and then have firing be the worst thing that happens to us? And yes, we don't know where the case will go, don't get me wrong, but it feels like there is no moment of justice. There is no, you know, if you're watching a movie, you'd at least want the cops, you'd want to see the perpetrators in handcuffs. You'd want to see the perpetrators facing some sort of justice. Yes, they might come out on bail, etc., but I think there's a lot of catharsis that comes with seeing that justice being doled out. When the riots happened, that for me was an interesting culmination of everything. I saw so many people online saying, these riots are disgusting. This is not how a society should be run. You do not loot and you do not burn and this is not how our society is built. And that actually triggered something in me where I was like, man, okay, society. But what is society? And fundamentally, when you boil it down, society is a contract. It's a contract that we sign as human beings amongst each other. We sign a contract with each other as people, whether it's spoken or unspoken, and we say, amongst this group of us, we agree in common rules, common ideals, and common practices that are going to define us as a group. That's what I think a society is. It's a contract. And as with most contracts, the contract is only as strong as the people who are abiding by it. But if you think of being a black person in America who is living in Minneapolis or Minnesota or any place where you're not having a good time, ask yourself this question when you watch those people. What vested interest do they have in maintaining the contract? Why don't we all loot? Why doesn't everybody take? Because we've agreed on things. There are so many people who are starving out there. There's so many people who don't have. There are people who are destitute. There are people who, when the virus hit and they don't have a second paycheck, already broke, which is insane, but that's the reality. But still, think about how many people who don't have, the have-nots, say, you know what, I'm still going to play by the rules even though I have nothing, because I still wish for this society to work and exist. And then some members of that society, namely black American people, watch time and time again how the contract that they have signed with society is not being honored by the society that has forced them to sign it with them. When you watch Ahmaud Arbery being shot and you hear that those men have been released, and were it not for the video and the outrage, those people would be living their lives, what part of the contract is that in society? When you see George Floyd on the ground and you see a man losing his life in a way that no person should ever have to lose their life, at the hands of someone who's supposed to enforce the law, what part of the contract is that? And a lot of people say, well, what good does this do? Yeah, but what good doesn't it do? That's the question people don't ask the other way around. What good does it do to loot Target? How does it help you to loot Target? Yeah, but how does it help you to not loot Target? Answer that question. Because the only reason you didn't loot Target before was because you were upholding society's contract. There is no contract if law and people in power don't uphold their end of it. And that's the thing I think people don't understand sometimes, is that we need people at the top to be the most accountable, because they are the ones who are basically setting the tone and the tenor for everything that we do in society. It's the same way we tell parents to set an example for their kids, the same way we tell captains or coaches to set an example for their players, the same way you tell teachers to set an example for their students. The reason we do that is because we understand in society that if you lead by example, there is a good chance that people will follow that example that you have set. And so if the example law enforcement is setting is that they do not adhere to the laws, then why should the citizens of that society adhere to the laws when in fact the law enforcers themselves don't? There's a really fantastic chapter in Malcolm Gladwell's book, David and Goliath, where he talks about the principles. What is it? He talks about the principles of legitimacy. And he says, in order for us to argue that any society or any legal body or any power is legitimate, we have to agree on core principles. And those 3 principles, if I remember correctly, is number 1, we have to agree on what the principles are. Number 2, we have to believe that the people who are enforcing the principles are going to enforce them fairly. And number 3, we have to agree that everyone in that society is going to be treated fairly according to those principles. It is safe to say in this 1 week alone, and maybe even from the beginning of coronavirus really blowing out in America, Black Americans have seen their principles completely delegitimized. Because if you're a Black person in America right now and you're watching this, if you're a Black American person specifically and you're watching this, what principles are you seeing? I think sometimes the thing we need to remember, and it's something I haven't remembered my whole life. You start to learn these things, you know, when when you travel the world, when you read, when you learn about society, I think, is that like when you are a have and when you are a have-not, you see the world in very different ways. And a lot of the time people say to the have-nots, this is not the right way to handle things. When Colin Kaepernick kneels, they say this is not the right way to protest. When Martin Luther King had children as part of his protests in Birmingham, Alabama, people said having children as your protest is not the right way to do things. When he marched in Selma, people said this is not the right way to do things. When people marched through the streets in South Africa during apartheid, they said this is not the right way to do things. When people burn things, they say it's never the right way, because there is never a right way to protest. And I've said this before, there is no right way to protest because that's what protest is. It cannot be right because you are protesting against a thing that is stopping you. And so I think what a lot of people don't realize is the same way you might have experienced even more anger and more just visceral disdain watching those people loot that Target. Think to yourselves, or maybe it would help you if you think about that unease that you felt watching that Target being looted. Try to imagine how it must feel for Black Americans when they watch themselves being looted every single day. Because that's fundamentally what's happening in America. Police in America are looting Black bodies. And I know someone might think that's an extreme phrase, but it's not, because here's the thing I think a lot of people don't realize. George Floyd died. That is part of the reason the story became so big, is because he died. But how many George Floyds are there that don't die? How many men are having knees put on their necks? How many Sandra Blands are out there being tossed around? It doesn't make the news because it's not grim enough. It doesn't even get us enough anymore. It's only the deaths, the gruesome deaths that stick out. But imagine to yourself, if you grew up in a community where every day someone had their knee on your neck, where every day somebody was out there oppressing you every single day. You tell me what that does to you as a society, as a community, as a group of people. And when you know that this is happening because of the color of your skin, not because the people are saying it's happening because of the color of your skin, but rather because it is only happening to you and you are the only people who have that skin color. And I know there's people who say, yeah, but like, well, how come black people don't care when Black people kill? But man, that's one of the dumbest arguments ever. Of course they care. If you've ever been to a hood anywhere, not just in America, but anywhere in the world, you'd know how much Black people care about that. If you know anything about under-policing and over-policing, though, you would understand how that comes to be. The police show Black people how valuable their lives are considered by the society. And so then those people who live in those communities know how to or not deal with those lives. Because best believe, if you kill a white person, especially in America, there is a whole lot more justice than is coming your way than if you killed some Black body in a Black neighborhood somewhere. And so to anyone who watched that video, don't ask yourself if it's right or wrong to loot, or don't ask yourself, wow, what does looting help? No. Ask yourself that question. Ask yourself why it got you that much more watching these people loot, because they were destroying the contract that you thought they had signed with your society. And now think to yourself, imagine if you were them watching that contract being ripped up every single day. Ask yourself how you'd feel.
Ella Baker said, until the killing of Black men, Black mothers' sons become as important to the rest of the country as the killing of a white mother's son, we who believe in freedom cannot rest until this happens. She said that in 1964. And we're still echoing those same cries today. It was hard to listen to that interview. It's just so much pain. You get so tired. We have black children. I have a 15-year-old daughter. I mean, what do I tell her? I'm raising a son. I have no idea what to tell him. It's hard being black in this country when your life is not valued. And people are worried about the protesters and the looters. And it's just people who are frustrated, who for far too long have not had their voices heard. And so you put me on after his brother, and I feel like I lost my brother. And nobody cares about the video. They had a video in Ahmaud Arbery, and 2 different solicitors looked at that video and declined to press charges. And so for those of us who have a mistrust of the system, it's very hard for us to do anything else other than just to cry this morning. And then hope and pray that we are not sitting next to Ben Crump one day. That's about all we can do.
Bakari, your father was shot more than 50 years ago. 50 years ago. And we're sitting here this morning and watching it happen again. So where do you find the hope? How do you tell your son and daughter that it's going to get better?
I don't know. I mean, maybe Dante has the answer. I don't know. I mean, I try to keep hope. I try to keep faith. I keep telling my children they can be free. You know, I want my kids to one day be able to grow up and be the host of New Day. I want them to be able to be a United States senator or president. But, you know, what happens if they get pulled over and they comply? What happens if they get judged by a father and a son who just are on a good old-fashioned South Georgia lynching? What happens if they get served a no-knock warrant like Breonna Taylor? I mean, what happens if that? How do you raise your children in this America to understand free when we see these images of them being gunned down in the street and a knee in the back of the neck for 8 minutes like a dog? So I don't have that answer other than every day I just tell them I love them. That's all I can do.
Dante, I'm not sure there is an answer necessarily, although you point to Angela Davis, who says it's not enough to be non-racist, you have to be anti-racist.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that is the hardest to learn for people who are not in the space of learning about racism in this country. There are a lot of people who believe that racism ended after the Civil War. They say that we fought a whole war over racism, yet they don't acknowledge the fact that the Confederacy was there to remain, to keep the institution of slavery alive. After that, we had Reconstruction, and then you had Jim Crow, you had the Civil Rights era, and it seems that the things that people had been talking about back in those times, and especially during the Civil Rights era, are still happening today. When Martin Luther King was forced to discuss the riots that were happening, they blamed him for the riots. And Martin Luther King said that the language of the unheard is why these riots are happening, and that America has failed to listen to the cries and to the promises of freedom and justice that they have promised since the founding of this country. But yet, as we still see today, you still see African Americans are not being treated as human. As Bakari said, you know, I have friends and family who have kids of all ages. And when your children are leaving home, when they go to school, you never know if they're going to come home safe. And that's not an exaggeration. That's a real, honest fear. That's a palpable fear that we've seen. And unfortunately, even when it's on video, it seems not to matter, because then the detractors, the people that are in opposition of freedom and justice, will look through anyone's background, whether if it's something that happened in the past, they will try to bring this person down and make excuses for the reason why this person died, even when they're on the ground face down with 3 officers on top of them, when they're telling you they can't breathe, people will look to find reasons why this person was killed instead of going to the root cause of the problem. And that, until we can figure out and understand why that continues to happen, why this psychology of racism has perpetuated not just in police, but in this entire country, in the entire system, the justice system of this country, things like this, unfortunately, will continue to happen. And you will see, unfortunately, the results of the language of the unheard. You will continue to see these riots happen until actual, real justice is served.
Look, after Ahmaud Arbery was killed, I noted I've walked into dozens of construction sites in my life just to look around. Jonathan Capehart of the Washington Post sent me a text and says he would never do that because he fears for his life. It just shows how different things are if you're white or you're black. Dante, I also want to put up on the screen an image that's been shared, thousands of times over the last day. It's the picture of the police officer with his neck on George Floyd's, with his knee on George Floyd's neck, and it's the picture of Colin Kaepernick kneeling. Bernice King tweeted out saying, "If you're unbothered or mildly bothered by the first knee, but outraged by the second, then in my father's words, you're more devoted to order than justice and more passionate about an anthem that supposedly symbolizes freedom than you are about a black man's freedom to live." I know that these pictures resonate with you.
They do, and unfortunately, I saw this image of the police officer with his knee on George Floyd's neck, even as he was saying that he couldn't breathe and he was losing consciousness, and the bystanders were pleading for the police officers to spare him his life. And Dr. Bernice King was right on. It's something that I saw immediately, and unfortunately, it just continues to happen in this country. But that was something that was a visceral image to me, was when I saw the officer kneeling on his neck. And I thought about, this is why the players are kneeling. This is reason 1 million why the players are kneeling. And you saw that image going around social media. And it's true. It's true. And it's really hard because there are so many people who do good work in this space. There are a lot of folks who go every single day and try to make this country live up to the principles that this country was founded on. And yet and still, here we are in 2020, during a pandemic, on Memorial Day, where you see this happening.
Bakari.
And the players have stood up. And, it's something that Colin Kaepernick went out on his own initially to do this. And he's now no longer has a job. And, obviously it's been years now, but he no longer has a job because he was protesting and trying to stand up for people who no longer have their lives.
Bakari, we've got just about a minute left, and you've been with us all morning long and outspoken. And needless to say, on social media, there's been some criticism, people saying you're condoning what's happened overnight in Minneapolis, and you're not. And it's not about condoning violence. No one wants to see buildings burn. It's about understanding why they're burning.
Yeah, I think that one of the things we've been crying out for is for white people in this country to have a sense of understanding about the pain and trauma that it is to be black in this country. And until you have some semblance of understanding and hear our voices, I was talking to T.D. Jakes not long ago, and you can teach me arithmetic and you can teach me the English language. You can teach me physics and science, but you can't teach me blackness. And one of the things that I think that more people need to do is just take a moment to listen and listen to those voices as they cry out in Minneapolis, listen to them as they cry out in Brunswick, Georgia. The plight to cure racism in this country is not on the shoulders of black men and women. It's on those individuals who don't suffer from this level of oppression on a daily basis. And so I hear those people, and those same people, John, that are chastising these protesters are the same people who were applauding the white boys carrying the AK-47s on state capitals earlier in the spring and summer. And so I just kind of shake my head at that. But at the end of the day, we lost another life. And I think the sad commentary about where we are in this country, people like me think that this country is vanishing and the dreams thereof are vanishing, is because I'm afraid we'll probably be here in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or another month with another George, another Brianna, another Ahmaud. And for many Black people in this country, they just pray to God it's not one of their loved ones. And that's an unfortunate state.
Wherever you'd want us, we will go. We were just getting out of your way when you were advancing through the intersection. So just let us know and we got you. I'm sorry?
You're under arrest.
Okay. Do you mind telling me why I'm under arrest, sir? Why am I under arrest, sir?
Officers with CNN and he's on the air right now.
Okay.
You are arresting him live on CNN. We told you before that we are with CNN.
I believe they're about to, we're all about to be arrested. That's our producer.
Our CNN producer is being...
I'm probably going to be taken in a minute.
Our CNN camera crew and our
just,
producer are being arrested right now on live television in handcuffs.
I've never seen anything like this.
Okay. I'm being arrested now. I gotta put. Can I put the camera down?
The police are now saying they're being arrested because they were told to move and didn't.
What's it going to take for you guys to be okay tonight and to stop this chaos?
It ain't me. It's not me. I'm going to let y'all know that now. It's not us guys neither. And I'm glad that y'all said that. It's not us. It's the police. This the madness that they spark up. This is what they encourage. This is what they provoke. This is what you get out of you taking a loved one from someone. This is what you get. You get a lot of people that's hurt, and they can't vent the right way. They can no longer depend on the police to be here to protect us like they say they gonna do. So this is what you get. And no, it's not gonna end today. I can't tell you it's gonna end tomorrow. I don't know when it's gonna end. But it's for y'all to start. We're not the ones that's killing us. Y'all killing us. We can't make a change if y'all don't change.
A boy last week, he was 16 in San Francisco, told me on television. Thank God we got him to talk. Maybe somebody will start to listen. He said, I got no country, I've got no flag. Now, he's only 16 years old. And I couldn't say you do. I don't have any evidence to prove that he does. They were tearing down his house. We're talking about human beings. There's not such a thing as a monolithic wall or, some abstraction called the Negro problem. These Negro boys and girls who at 16 and 17 don't believe the country means anything that it says, don't feel they have any place here on the basis of the performance of the entire country.
Now, Jim...
No, am I exaggerating?
No, I certainly could not say that you're exaggerating.